I have a lot of chaotic energy this morning, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah.
I woke up early. I went for a run for the first time in like months. Took my dog for a walk. Got a coffee that's as big as my head. Recorded some audio for my video. Talking to you.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thankful for orange juice right now.
Gavin, you're at a 0 right now. I need you at least a 10.
We'll get there.
Give me
a second.
Should I sing to you?
No,
hold on. Pick a song. I'll sing it to you.
No, just give me. Let me gather myself. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yeah, that's all I needed. All right. Yeah. Okay. All right. Good fucking morning. Cool. All right. So we already went over this. It's crazy. It's chaos this week. Everything is all over the place. You are too. All I needed was I needed 10 seconds to collect myself, and this was the first 10 actual seconds I got this morning, apart from like just actually taking my first sip of coffee, breathing, a little bit of that this morning. But I didn't even get a chance to do the rest of everything else because I had to sleep in because I didn't get more than like 5 hours of sleep any night this week. And then I finally just got like 6.5, which was great, but I needed like a full half hour to collect myself, and I just did not get that. So a breath and some orange juice. I'm grateful for the orange juice. I'm grateful for the breath. I'm grateful to be here. Here we go. All right. What's up? Odie, listen.
Yeah.
I know that we're both very far away from this, but there are people in this country eating cats and dogs.
Oh,
and it's wild, and
it's crazy how it's true.
And not only that, not only are people eating cats or dogs, but that is an important election season decision to make: is do you want people eating cats? Do you want that? Do you want that in this country? I don't either.
Exactly.
And
so there's so much proof and evidence, and I mean, like it's definitely happening. The city that they said it was happening in definitely didn't come out and say that's false, and the police reports definitely weren't released to say it was false, and all the evidence online definitely wasn't debunked as being other things. But it's true. It's definitely true.
Exactly. And
Austin
so
Porch.
we need to stop this. Here's what we need to do. You and I
Ohio.
need. Oh. Hot take.
Hot take.
It's a very hot take.
We're not allowed in Ohio.
That's quite a flash of a take there. I wouldn't want to nuke Ohio. I don't think I would. I don't know enough about Ohio. I think I would need to gather more evidence before I would decide to nuke a place.
Okay, fair enough.
I would need to investigate the place firsthand first. Somebody's like, hey, what's going on? You from around here? No, I'm not. What are you doing? I'm just scouting the place out. And they're like, why? Because I might nuke it. I'm seeing if this is. I'm seeing if I've like
you have a clipboard.
It says how nukeable is.
It's like yes or no answers.
I'm just checking things off and be like, well, first off, you're annoying me. So
yeah, it's like
with
nosy people.
Check. I guess we could do with less nosy people here.
You're not helping your case here.
I think most people would probably think that you're just an insane person. You know?
Absolutely. Well, you'd fit in Ohio then.
That's great. I don't know enough. Have you been there? Do you know anything about Ohio?
Yeah, I grew up in the state next door.
I've only driven through Ohio.
Ohio a few times.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
For what?
Work.
For steel? Isn't the steel industry there?
For work.
The only thing I've ever learned about Ohio is like it's loosely associated with Rockefeller and the steel industry.
Well, you also have
I have like one random Jeopardy fact that if like Ohio was part of the answer, I'd be like Rockefeller. Who is Rockefeller? Like it just that's not what we're looking for, Kevin.
You got things in Ohio. There's stuff there.
Cleveland.
Nothing good.
The Drew Carey Show.
Nuke. Send it. Fire away. Send an extra for good measure. Buy one, get one sale.
Okay, let's clap. Let's do the thing.
Clap.
Here we go. Ready? Are you ready?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
3, 2, 1.
I'm nodding on a podcast.
All right, we did it. We clapped. Great. Good for us. Awesome. Welcome back to another episode of the Unpop Podcast. Delirious not as always. I am Kevin Miner, your Capitan Pero Todo El Siempre. He, him, with me as always is...
Odie Matthews, the chef. I'm at 120 million% cooking up delicious content, they, them. I have so much energy right now.
They went for a run this morning. They did it.
Yeah, I ran to my car so I could go get coffee.
Oh, shut up.
No, I did.
I was like,
no,
is that seriously the punchline
No,
here?
I ran.
I'm judging you right now.
I saw the
staring through the sky. How dare you trick me into believing in your fitness, Odie? Don't you know I cherish that?
No, I ran like a mile this morning.
Oh, you did? Oh, wow. All right, proud of you.
Degrees right now. It's got like, okay, you know those mornings?
Yeah.
And since we don't have humidity here, we don't get them as much. I think.
Yeah, we don't have that either.
As much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It was like one of those mornings where it was like in the like high 40s, low 50s, and like that mist was on the ground, like the grass, like the mist.
Oh yeah, we've
like
got that too
like,
now, but with humidity.
Yeah. Oh, it's so nice. It's such a great time to run.
It's fall vibes, baby. It's fall vibes.
It just needs to be a little bit cooler because we're still in the 80s over here.
Yeah. Look, so I opened up making the dogs and cats joke, but on a slightly serious note, but really, like, how serious can we ever be on this podcast? I watched the debate, and I have to say, watching a geriatric man attempt to string loosely based opinions with unverified facts together into coherent sentences was actually one of the more entertaining things I did this week. I know that there's the dark and grim reality that there are millions of people who believe the things that he's saying, but that actually kind of makes it more absurd. Remember, like we were talking when this podcast started about Albert Camus. The world is absurd, and one of the best things that we can do is be absurd back to it. Our brand represents a level of absurdity. So really, when I look at those millions of people, I'm like, these are potential brand enthusiasts for Unpop as well. They could easily be swayed. All we have to do is find one good conspiracy theory.
If you're voting for Trump, you hate us.
Probably, actually. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
If I had to guess.
Yeah, I think we can comfortably say this podcast is voting for Kamala. Like, pretty.
I'm voting for RFK.
Wait. Oh, really? Wow. That plot twist. Okay.
Yeah.
Please. You do know that he endorsed Trump, right?
Yeah, but I just think he'd be such a good president with his weird voice.
You
and
think
awesome
that the
policies.
guy who's not running would be a good president?
Yep.
All right, that's where we're at.
I want him and Mark Cuban. That
know what?
should be his VP pick.
That's enough political commentary today. That's enough from us. That is enough from us.
Let me set the record straight. I am definitely not voting.
You can't. You can't. You
Yeah,
can't.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Kevin, I'm not voting for him is what I'm saying.
I'm not voting. Okay, good, Odie. You're not writing in RFK anyway.
I'm not voting for RFK.
Oh, my God.
I'm voting for Obama.
You know what? I'm not going to vote for Ross Perot this year. You got it.
You shouldn't.
I'm not gonna.
It is safe to say that we are voting for Kamala. I mean, I like my rights as a queer person. So
yeah, I like your rights too.
Those?
I've only ever fought for my right to party as an American citizen because the Beastie Boys taught me to, and I feel like the Beastie Boys would appreciate Kamala. So that's what we got, man. Yeah, sorry I was a little bit slow this morning. I am, without realizing it, I've stepped into one of the busiest periods of my life.
Yeah,
Just
what else is
period.
new?
Hold on one second. Okay, sorry. I had to respond to somebody. I'm in the middle of a crazy development that maybe I'll share on the podcast. I'll wait till something has materialized on that front. But yeah, lots of stuff going on. Doing 3 shows, finishing one up this weekend and next weekend. I have rehearsal for Clue right after we get out of here. I'm in School of Rock, right? So we had our opening night last night, and it was phenomenal. I do have to say, like, those kids, I can't say enough about the kids in this cast. I love that Schenectady Light Opera Company, which is right up here in upstate New York. They're doing such a good job of creating community theater, because that's what it really is. It's community theater, and, like, I think a lot of people will start up theater companies and like instead of like really pushing themselves to branch out and try to like lobby for, like for them to be putting on better shows and get better space and like really digging into the hard work that goes into running the community theater. SLOC does a really good job of reaching out into the community, getting funds pulled in, interacting with the different politicians that are around there. We actually took a quick photo with one of the local politicians there.
Was it
last
RFK?
night. No, it was not. He's not a local politician here.
He's from New York.
Do you want to just make this episode about RFK? Because we will. I'll just start looking up RFK facts in quotes.
He's related to JFK.
That's great. Do you want to make this about RFK?
No.
Okay, cool. No. So
I was going to make a recurring
I'm
bit,
trying to compliment a local theater here, Odie. Anyway, they do a great job. They do great. No, but seriously, the kids are phenomenal, and they're super talented. We have kids playing, like, live instruments for School of Rock on stage, the beloved Jack Black fronted movie, turned musical. And James Alexander, who's in this, phenomenal actor. He's classically trained in opera, but like really like pushing his rock envelope with this, and like trying to embrace as much Jack Black silliness as he can. Like really that role, it's not Jack Black, it's Dewey Finn. Cause like, I feel like there are different shades of those roles that he plays, but he's really trying to embrace that as much as he can and like bring that to the forefront and, help, audiences to engage and love and like really enjoy the entire experience. And he really he drives the entire performance, and then the kids kind of like pull everything in and ground it and make it like a sentimental thing at the same time. And then meanwhile I'm just running around with a Tina Turner wig and fishnet and singing "I'm Too Hot for You," the song, and that makes it an enjoyable experience for me. So like you really get everything in this musical. Do you want to see some really talented kids? Perfect, we got lots of that for you. You want to see a guy who has like an amazing theatrical voice try to channel a little bit of silly Jack Black? We got that for you. Do you want just like a fit dude in a Tina Turner wig with fishnet on? We got that. Maybe you don't want the guy with the fishnet and the Tina Turner wig. Too bad. We got that.
No refunds.
Yeah. And then and then we're doing Clue up here, and then I'm playing what's his name? Franklin Hart Jr. in the classic 9 to 5.
Oh yeah, Dolly Parton.
The Dolly Parton movie turned musical. There's a theme here. But what's really great about that role, very similar to the role, I didn't know that this existed. Have you ever heard the term princess track?
Mm-mm. Okay,
so I am in both of these musicals. I am relatively princess track. Now, James Alexander told me what this was the other night. He's like, princess track is when you come out, you sing a very memorable song that the audience loves for whatever reason. Like maybe it really pulls on their heartstrings and they're weeping afterward. Maybe it's like the funny, bombastic number. Maybe it's just like that huge number somewhere toward the end of Act 1 that everyone thinks of with like a big dance routine or whatever. But the princess track, you come out, you do that, you do almost nothing else the entire show. And then people afterward are like, "You were great."
Yeah, okay.
And so I get to do that in this musical. And then I was informed last night by somebody in 9 to 5. Of course, I have not read or seen the musical version of this yet, as I do with every musical. I don't see it until I'm in it, I guess. I don't know, but apparently I'm relatively princess track on that because I come out as a super sexist boss and basically insult everybody or piss everybody off, and then they spend the rest of the musical talking about how they're going to poison me and tie me up in my garage.
So you're basically playing yourself in that one.
Absolutely.
Got him. Kevin admits it. He's a sexist boss.
But balancing all that out made me very tired. So it was hard to get going this morning. You saw it was a challenge for me to get going this morning. I needed the rest.
Yeah.
And I still do, so I'm gonna go to sleep now. All right, how's your week been?
All right, here we go. I'm just gonna talk nonstop.
Okay, hit it.
So Monday.
I'm laying down.
Monday, 5:30 a.m. I woke up. Got up. I washed my hands. I take my dog out first thing in the morning, even with bedhead. I walk him. Then I came back inside. I got myself into the shower.
Yep.
That was a challenge because I had to walk through the front door all the way to the bathroom. Turned on the water, wait for it to get hot. It's a very long, complicated process. It's about 6 o'clock at this point on Monday. We're going to do this for each day, by the way.
Hit it.
30 minutes breakdown. I can't do this, Kevin. We're talking about
I gave up. I'm laying down on the floor.
Yeah, Kevin's laying down. This is just like when I broke in with Fast and the Furious. Let's just jump into the
topic.
Though.
I'm not broken.
You're broken.
I just need the
You're
rest.
broken.
No, I need to charge.
That's being charged needs to be broke.
What?
Oh, my brain. I don't know. Anyways,
what?
Let's talk about the topic. Let's talk about the topic.
What are we talking about, Odie? It's
today,
spooky season.
We're on the precipice of spooky season, everybody.
It's not the precipice. We're in it. I've already been watching horror movies. Wait, hold on. Are you a person? When does spooky season start for you?
When the weather starts to feel like fall.
So for upstate New York, that means spooky season for you starts in September.
Well, the weather here, where I'm currently living, is not that weather, Kevin, so spooky season hasn't started.
Okay, well, it started for me because it does feel like fall. Keep going.
It's not about you now, is it, Kevin?
Okay, I guess not.
Keep going. It's shared. We're just going to talk about all the horror movies coming out for the rest of the year because Kevin is correct. It is spooky season.
Because spooky season should go until the end of the year.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wait, when do you start Christmas season? Like holiday season?
I don't like Christmas.
Well, no, holiday season. Like just
mean?
Like the festive air that people get in December. Like when do you start that?
Oh, never. I don't like it.
You don't like any of it?
November and December, I like the weather, but like I don't like Thanksgiving. I don't like Christmas. The whole holiday Christmas season is not my favorite. It's actually one of my least favorite times of the year.
Really?
I am 100% a true and blue like Grinch when it comes to Christmas.
I hate
that holiday.
I feel like that would change if you were here because there's we have a really good group of people who aren't like at least in my life. I have a really good people who aren't about it in like the annoyingly Christmas way. You know, it's just kind of
I just don't like the vibe.
Here's a good excuse for us to get together because everyone else is doing it. And that's like, I just like that. Like, I have a really good core group of people. And it's my birthday around that time. So if you want to be a Grinch on my birthday, Odie, you can get the fuck out.
I will. I have never in my life been the kid or adult that's like, oh my God, Christmas is almost. I've never, ever once really cared about Christmas. Yeah. It's just not my thing. None of it. None of the movies, none of the vibes, even when I was religious, none of that, none of it is anything that I want anything to do with. Well, it's just not for me.
You know, other cultures have similar things, and it's because it's the actual function around having a holiday spirit and community things is to bring people together and lift their spirits during a time of the year where on the northern hemisphere of the world we're getting less light, right? We're outside less. It's a little colder. So the real reason isn't necessarily Christmas. The real reason isn't necessarily, whatever holiday you're choosing to celebrate or presents or, capitalism or any of that stuff. It's just like, oh, yeah, there's less light and we probably should be getting together to generate more happiness as a group because it's harder to do it by yourself this time of year. Does that make more sense?
Yeah, but I still don't like the time.
Well,
it's just something about the season.
Fuck you.
I just don't like November and December.
That's totally fine. That's fine. But okay, so the reason I brought that up is some people are like Halloween's done, it's Christmas. Some people are like Thanksgiving's over, it's Christmas.
It's Christmas now.
Here's how I like to do it, and this might sound a little bit, I don't know, maybe on the spectrum or whatever you want to call it, but like it's the 25 days of Christmas in my mind, right? So for me, what I have been telling people, at least since I've been like a coherent adult who functions within these realms, is that December 1st, I will be totally on board with you for Christmas, right? I'm on board. You know me. I'm on board for celebrating, getting together, having a good time, being grateful for things any time of the year, regardless. But like, I'm on board for Christmas December 1st, and you can bet that the 26th, I'm done with Christmas. Like, all right, there is no, like, it's a hard jump on, and it's a hard cut off. Like, it's just like, all right, cool. You got 25 days of me. Like, anybody who wants to do anything Christmassy, anybody who wants to, like, go get cocoa and go sledding, like, all that shit, I'm 100% in for 25 days. I am bought into the holiday shit. But afterward, the 26th, I'm done.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And then New Year's Eve this year, I don't know. Have I shared this with you yet that I'm playing the Cowardly Lion on New Year's Eve?
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you about that?
Yes, you did.
Oh, dude. I get to go be the Cowardly Lion and get paid for it on New Year's Eve at the Desmond Hotel. It's going to be a great time.
That sounds awesome.
Great holiday season, baby. All right, hit me up. So it's spooky season now. Do you like spooky season? Because that's kind of a holiday season.
Dude, my wedding anniversary is Halloween.
Okay. All right.
My favorite time of the year is spooky season.
All right, say less.
October is like my favorite month.
All right,
for a lot of reasons. I'll say more. I like October. October is also the month that I graduated Marine Corps boot camp, October 12th. So I also like October. I really like October.
Nice.
Yeah, there's some horror movies coming out this year. Now, in horror movie fashion, and you probably know this, horror movies don't get the love and respect that they truly deserve. There's not a category at the Oscars for horror. Very rarely do horror movies get like nominated for big awards like the Oscars. They have, obviously there's like specific horror award shows and stuff, but like horror movies on the whole, I feel like the directors, if you're like a really famous actor that does pretty much only horror, like you don't get the same love, attention, and respect that like an action star or like a romantic comedy lead does, and that's really upsetting. But
I think Rob Zombie really appreciates everything you're saying right now.
I think him and a lot of other people like Trauma. But I also like the thing with horror movies too. This is obviously in other genres, but there's a lot of horror movies that come out that go straight to streaming, straight to DVD, don't ever make it to theaters, you know.
Like trauma movies.
Like trauma movies. Like the Toxic Avenger remake with Peter Dinklage and Elijah Wood that streamed that premiered last September at a film festival and apparently is so awful that they refuse to release it, which is why we'll probably never see it.
Oh no, really?
And I'm upset because I really wanted to see that new Toxic Avenger.
I wanted to see that too. Wow, that really is a trauma film. My God.
Yep. So with that, there's a lot of like B horror movies, C horror movies, and D horror movies. So I'm going to go through this list. Okay. Some of them are going to be big releases. Some of them are just going to be ones that I think are interesting.
Okay. Hit me.
And the first one is it's a movie called Never Let Go. And it is the Halle Berry movie that comes out the same weekend as Transformers 1.
Yeah.
It's
in the trailer they say want to see what Mama sees or something. Like it looks trippy.
Yeah, it's basically about a family that's been haunted by like an evil spirit.
Whoa.
Classic. And then, well, it's kind of one of those. I like it. I like the premise because it's one of the kids. Like the main contention point is like one of the kids questions if the evil is even really there. So it becomes kind of like one of those like mind games too, where it's like, is the mom crazy? Is this evil real? Like,
is she just psychologically messed up, or is there an actual spirit?
And I honestly like. Spoiler alert for the movie Shutter Island, but like I love when a movie has a good twist ending, like with that one where it turns out.
You know what? Actually, even though that movie came out forever ago, we can just say that it was a good twist ending.
Have you not seen it?
No, I just think that one's like good enough to preserve it for anybody. Okay. Just say like,
fair.
I appreciate a good psychological versus supernatural battle.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough. Yes.
That one's good enough. I actually kind of want to leave that intact for somebody who might see that someday. Also, Leonardo DiCaprio is phenomenal in that movie.
Yes, one of my favorite roles from him. Personally.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll skip around that. There's a movie coming out. I think it already maybe did at one point, but there's apparently a movie called it's re-releasing.
What is it?
Well, I've never heard of it. It's called The Babadook.
Oh, yeah, The Babadook.
I've never seen it. I guess I'm going to put that on my list. I thought it was a new one.
The Babadook it's a pretty good one. I mean, it's a classic boogeyman tale, right? Like it's, so once again, we got like some kids and stuff. I think one of the elements of horror movies, when someone wants to step up the horror, they incorporate children, because Because what that does, because a lot of viewers, we tend to self-insert. So we think of ourselves as a kid and like how much more scary that would have been. And for some people, that really can elevate the frightening experience of a good horror film. So The Babadook was like, that was a good horror movie. It actually became kind of like a meme for LGBTQ people for a little bit. Like there were like a lot of memes being passed around of the Babadook with like red heels and stuff on, just looking absolutely fabulous.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Because the whole idea was that like right wing people think that like gay people are the boogeyman. Like
yes, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah. And also, there's a dark truth to that too. So
a little bit.
Yeah.
All
right, let's go. The dark truth is the Babadook is the boogeyman, is real, and is gay.
Is me.
And lives in your closet.
It's me. I'm in your closet, bitch. I jump out and I go, they, them. And
It's
go,
Odie Matthews.
Pronouns. Pronouns.
Oh, no.
I don't like using pronouns.
The thing I'm most frightened of,
used them.
The English language evolving. All right, keep going.
Anyways, so the next one I want to mention, because it sounds insane. This is definitely one of those movies. It started off as a short in 2016 on YouTube.
Yeah,
they got some crowdfunding and stuff. It's called a very flattened Christmas.
Okay.
And I will give you $5 and I'll leave your closet at night from scaring you if you can tell me what this movie is about.
Oh shit. A very flattened Christmas.
And it's a horror movie set around Christmas time, obviously.
It's not a kaiju film, is it?
No.
Okay, because, I mean, when you say very flattened Christmas, I just think of, like, a giant monster stomping a house. Like, is it a giant monster stomping a house?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
It's about a reindeer that goes around flattening people and killing them. An evil reindeer.
Flattening them? Like, magically?
Like, grandma got run over by a reindeer.
Yeah, but, like, actually flattening or like just running them
just
over?
Like a regular reindeer is just like trampling people and killing them.
Yeah, but do they become flattened? Like, do they get pressed?
I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet.
Oh, okay. See, that's the thing is you're saying flattened, and I'm like,
I think
a reindeer would
getting run over by a reindeer.
I would be so mad watching this movie if people don't literally get magically flattened by the reindeer. I would be like, this is a very trampled Christmas, not a very flattened Christmas. I would not be
surprised if this is one of those movies where like you see the reindeer, you see the person like scream, and then the next shot is just like them paper thin.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I would not be surprised at all.
If that is the case, yes. Your title, A+ on the title. I don't care if the movie gets a separate rating. But if your title is a very flattened Christmas and literally nobody gets flattened, fail.
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah.
My
constant reference for this is The Desolation of Smaug, the second Hobbit movie, where Smaug neither desolates the town nor is desolated. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole point of that entire part of that plot is desolation.
He's there for like 5 minutes.
And they call it The Desolation of Smaug, and then he neither desolates nor is desolated. I literally stood up in the theater and yelled, "What?" Because Smaug flies at the screen, and then he says, "I am death," and it goes black, and then the credits came up, and I literally stood up in the theater and went, "What?"
Yeah,
that's
like one of the worst cliffhangers because
I was
so pointless.
So mad. Anyway, keep going.
Especially because the fight scene is only like the first 10 minutes of the next movie, anyways.
It's so bad. Anyway, keep going.
There's a movie coming called Bagman.
Okay.
And
you gotta get that bag, man. You gotta get that.
This is a PG-13 slasher.
Okay. This sounds like it would be like a Marlon and Damon Wayans movie. Like, gotta get that, like, Mo Money, right? Bagman. Like, it's like the sequel to Mo Money.
Tell me how generic this
it's a guy with a bag over his head and he's gonna kill people.
It's, you ready?
Yeah.
When a sinister threat from his childhood returns to haunt him, a father desperately struggles against his deeper inner fear, only this time, it's to save his family. Boring.
Is this a Clint Eastwood film?
It just okay.
Is this Liam Neeson? Like, this just falls into like the dad savior category of film, right? Like, it doesn't even sound like a horror film. It sounds like a Clint Eastwood or Liam Neeson film.
Well, so here's my thing with slashers, and there is a reason why I only really truly
give me your thing with slashers.
Okay, here's my hot take on slashers.
Give me your hot take on slashers.
As someone who loves horror movies.
Let's cut through this hot take.
I love horror movies, but I don't really love slashers. I like campy slashers from the 80s that like really started the genre.
Do you love them or do you tolerate them?
I like them.
Okay.
They're fun to watch because
so
they're kind of bad.
So like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, but I'm thinking more like Bay of Blood, like Happy Birthday.
Well, I'm the first Halloween, Friday the 13th.
Reanimator.
These are actually slasher films.
Yeah, no. I'm not. They are very much
even
slasher
though they're
films.
supernatural horror, they're still slasher films.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of the Jason X, he goes to space. It's still a slasher, even though it's in space. Like
sci-fi slasher, baby. All right.
But I love Scream because I think Scream tackles the slasher genre in a way that I really enjoy personally.
Yeah, it's self-aware. Okay.
I'm not the biggest fan of kids at a camp in the woods and this guy with a machete chases them through the woods, or like the movie
I'm a big
Hatchet.
fan of that. Those kids are always fuck ups.
But see, that's things like
I want them to get fucked up.
I think about
like
the
you
movie
guys
Hatchet.
are rude. You paid attention to none of the rules here.
But that's the thing is like I think about the movie Hatchet from like 2006, which was supposed to be like written and directed to be like a true blue slasher film, and like it is like. It's a mythical guy in the woods that has a tragic backstory that just kills a bunch of teens and doesn't have a happy ending. But like,
it's a classic campfire story.
It's the same with this movie, like Bagman. Like, they're all like a lot of, and I'm not saying you can't. Like, I'm not saying you can't like redefine the genre. I'm not saying you can't do something new and twisty because there are tons of slasher films that have done that. But like lately,
like Happy Death Day, right?
Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, where it's like the time travel slasher.
That one's good, where like Freaky. Resets every time you die. That's cool.
Freaky is really good with Vince Vaughn. Where
I
it's a body swap.
That movie. Yeah, Chloe and I watched that movie together. That was awesome.
So like, you know, you can do interesting things with slasher by like adding comedic elements or adding other elements to them. But like, I've seen the trailer for this Bagman movie, and it just looks like every other generic slasher. There's a guy. He's got a weird image, and he chases you, and he slashes.
Well, here's. I've kind of said this about a few different things, but maybe this generation needs their first big slasher film, right? Like maybe it's not all about always buying into a franchise, right? And continuing the Scream franchise forever or because the other option, like let's look at it this way, like you've got Bagman, right, which is like whatever, it's trying to be like the new slasher film. Or maybe do something relatively new with it. Or we reboot another slasher again.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying only do Scream 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Or reboot.
I don't want to reboot either. Okay. I'm saying that the two examples we gave, like Freaky and Happy Death Day, I want more stuff. I want like exactly what you're saying. I want new things, but I just don't want them to feel like old things. And I think that there is...
Since it's so generic, 30 seconds, come up with a slasher film plot of your own right now. Let's do it. You hit me with a slasher film plot.
Okay. Yeah. There's a guy and he's troubled mentally and keep going. No, I'm sorry. I've reset. Okay, here we go. Here's the real plot. There's a guy, his life is great, everything is going fine. All of a sudden, he starts weirdly getting like things start to go wrong and things start to go awry in his life, and he starts getting like chased and people around him start disappearing and getting murdered, and the big twist is it turns out it's an alternate version of himself from a different dimension where that dimension went to shit, and he's trying to ruin every other dimension because he's trying to find the perfect one to take over so he can have a good life, but in order to do that he has to ruin all the other dimensions or something. I like the idea. I like add a supernatural element where it's like an alternate version of the killer or like an alternate version of the real person, or I don't know, like do a period piece. Like one of the things that I think would be really like that we don't do enough with just like movies across the in general is like take a premise and plop it somewhere in time. Like I would give me a slasher film in like Dark Ages 800 AD in like some Slovakian village, like for no fucking reason.
Yep. I will give you a brand new slasher film written by our piratey co-pilot.
I knew it. The Return. Why? Give it to me.
By the Skype AI co-pilot. I said, write me a plot for a slasher film about pirate teenagers and say it in a pirate voice.
All right, here we go.
Arrgh! Gather round, matey, and let me spin ye a tale of terror on the high seas.
This is the worst synopsis ever.
In the depths of the Caribbean, a band of teenage pirates set sail on their ship, the Bloody Revenge. Led by the darling and rebellious Captain Red, these young buccaneers set to treasure seek and adventure. But little do they know a curse lies upon the treasure they seek. Oh, this is pretty classic already. One stormy night they come across an ancient map leading to the Isle of Shadows, a place whispered about in ghostly legends. Ignoring the warnings of the old sea dogs, they set course for the island, eager to claim the riches. As they land on the eerie shores, strange things begin to happen. Crew members start disappearing one by one, their screams echoing through the night. The survivors find themselves stalked by a vengeful spirit, the ghost of Blackheart, a pirate betrayed and murdered by his own crew centuries ago. With each passing night, the terror grows. The teenagers must use all their wits and pirate skills to survive the wrath of Blackheart. They uncover secrets of betrayal, hidden traps, and the true nature of the cursed treasure. In a final showdown, Captain Red faces Blackheart in a battle of swords and wits.
This is the whole movie.
Will they break the curse and escape the Isle of Shadows, or will they join the ranks of the damned? Only the bravest will survive this slasher tale of pirate horror. What do you think, matey? Ready to set sail on a spine-chilling adventure?
For one, that's not a slasher, that's a ghost movie. And two, they just took elements of Pirates of the Caribbean and combined them with every generic haunting movie ever.
I just love how often AI can both succeed and fail at the same time. This is great.
That's so stupid.
Anyways, that's my slasher film.
Yeah, look, I can't come up, I'm not saying I can come up with a better one. If you gave me some time, I'm sure.
Then what
I think I can come up with better than that. Here's here's what makes me think of this, Kevin. I want to get. So there was I think of the movie Prey. It's Predator, but Native American, no guns, no military. It's just a girl and her wits and her dog taking on. But a predator.
not a slasher film.
No. But here's where I'm going with this. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying you took a premise that we've only known to be either modern day or in the future with Predator. And popped it in a time period and made it work. Mm-hmm. There was originally going to be a Terminator story, I think it was, that was going to be back in medieval times, where Terminator gets sent back to medieval times. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying you have to switch time periods. I'm not saying that every slasher is generic and the same. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that a lot of slashers that we see, take the new Halloween reboot. Yeah. Or legacy sequel trilogy that came out. The first one was pretty good, but the second and third one are abysmal because they're just the same fucking thing we've seen. Yeah.
What about
you brought Halloween back and you wasted it?
What about From
Which
Hell?
One?
Have you seen
From Hell?
Yeah. From Hell? Based on the graphic novel?
Drag Me to Hell?
No, From Hell. The movie about Jack the Ripper. It's a slasher film / horror mystery set during the time of Jack the Ripper. It's got Johnny Depp in it.
I don't think so.
What, dude? See, we've already done it, baby. The thing that you want exists for you already. We did it. We found it for you. There it is.
I know this movie. Yeah, there's a reason why I don't think I've seen this one. Anyways,
As you were describing it, I was like, this exists.
Let's move forward.
All right, let's go.
I feel like
Next movie.
Obviously, I might be wrong on my slasher take, but that's just my take. I personally.
You don't want to see Bagman or The Curse of Blackheart.
I like demons. I like demons and possession.
You like demonology.
And I like the spooky tension. I don't here's why I don't personally slashers that much. They're usually too gory for my taste. And I don't have a problem with gore. That's not my issue. Okay. But I for me, the horror element of horror movies comes from somebody opens a door and it's a pitch black room and there's something that's in there, but you can't see it. That's freaky. Watching somebody get stabbed 8 times as blood spies, that's not scary to me. If I'm going to watch a horror movie, I want to get scared. I want to struggle to sleep at night, you know? Yeah. Terrifier 3 comes out.
Yep.
Now,
that's a slasher film, really. I mean, that's a slasher film. It's kind of supernatural, but not.
It's body
really...
torture too.
Yeah.
It's very much body torture. Yeah. I can't bring myself to watch them. They're too much of the. I don't like torture porn. I don't like the Saw movies. Not my thing.
I don't either. And did you see both the other Terrifier movies?
I heard about a scene in the second one.
Yeah, you did.
And
it's bad. Yeah, I know
why?
exactly what you're talking about.
Like, why would you?
Because
some people love that shit, but for me, I'm just.
Yeah, it's for that crowd. It's for the crowd.
It's not for me.
Here's what I'll say about the Terrifier trilogy, because now it's a trilogy when this comes out. I will probably go see the third. They don't wow me. I've never watched any of them a second time. But like I've watched them all and been like, okay, I get where you're going with this. And like there's a lot of really great practical effects and makeup that in those movies that like I think honestly if you appreciate stuff like that, totally worth it to watch it. But if it's like completely against your sensitivities, yeah, I'd also, maybe like say skip it. Like if you really don't like blood, gore, and like kind of like loosely tied together senseless violence, that's not for you.
Yeah, and that's not for me.
If you do, those are great movies for you to watch. That's actually I highly recommend. So I either only highly recommend or don't.
Yeah, I can't. Terrifier is just, I don't know, not for me.
It's a clown. He's got spooky makeup on. He looks weird. His teeth are ugly. And then he just murders people, but in the slowest, most painful ways possible.
Yeah. He's a psychopath.
Yep.
The other one, and I think this is the movie that I can't stop watching the trailer for because I'm forced to every time I go to the theater.
Hit me.
Smile 2.
Oh, actually, I do want to see that.
I do want to see it because I liked the first one a lot.
Yeah, and it looks like they're kind of expanding on it with this one.
However, I will say,
I'm
a little disappointed
because
the way the first one ends, spoiler alert for the 2021 movie Smile, or whenever it came out, the movie ends with the main character not getting the happy ending and her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever seeing it happen and then get the... We know just from the trailer that clearly he's in the marketing for this movie, but like clearly he's going to die right away, or he's going to do what the one guy did in the first one and kill somebody. So like he's the character we spent a lot of time getting to know is either going to be dead immediately at the start of this one, or just be the guy in jail that they go to for like one scene and he tells them what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And personally, I don't... Now, here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying I mind that, but because it's so clearly obvious if you saw the first one, seeing him in the marketing material, that's the only two things that can happen to him.
Yeah.
I wish that they would have maybe kept that a little bit more of a secret, or...
That would be like if they did It Follows too, because the two people are walking away at the end of It Follows and it's following them.
Exactly. It's like... I think that obviously the premise of Smile is really interesting to me, and I think it's I really think the first one is a great depiction of mental health and the horrors of mental health.
Well, it's all a big metaphor for mental health.
Exactly, and that's why I
love
it so much.
How scary it can be to be like anxious and depressed all the time.
Now, here's where I was a little disappointed with Smile, because I think, and again, all my opinion, but I think that if that movie would have had a happy ending, then it would have come full circle on being a great message about mental health. But if there was any
sort of resolution,
it kind of like, and I get what they're going for. They're going for the horror movie ending, but I also think that like horror movies can have a happy ending. Everyone, like, you can walk away and everything, and
most do.
Not be bad anymore.
Most have
until they come up with a sequel.
Yeah, well, most have like the final girl ending, or like the final, like the survivor ending, or like the we killed the monster ending, even though. Mm-hmm. Some people have died. A lot of those have that. I think the few that don't kind of create a category of their own. Like the Phantasm was very famous for having that kind of ending where it's like, oh yeah, the good guys don't actually win. And then also, like, I think the Evil Dead series does a really good job of it. Like the good guys don't really win. Like, they don't, like, vanquish evil forever or anything, Like, it's definitely... Yeah. And especially the most recent two Evil Dead movies, I'm like, these are phenomenal. And there's not an actual, like... positive we won the battle ending,
It's the same with Halloween, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Exorcist, the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, I would say Smile and a few other movies go a little bit further in that, like, even the protagonist doesn't really win. Like, the protagonist doesn't just win. So I kind of like that. It's refreshing when it doesn't happen.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that ruins the movie Smile. I still think it's a
really good
horror movie. It's not. I think it's still It's still a really good movie, and I still think that the ending is. Don't get me wrong. I think that personally for me would have been a better ending, but I still think the way that they end that movie is good. So Smile 2, it's got Naomi Watts, who was the Pink Power Ranger in the Power Rangers reboot.
I don't know, whatever.
It looks good. I mean, I think that it has the potential
to
maybe
reference
be a good trilogy.
The Power Rangers reboot. Like, did anybody else watch that?
I did. I did a video on it.
I know you did, but that's because you do videos on movies that are bad. Like,
you want to know what movie I'm going to cover?
There's going to be so many references that you're going to end up having, like, that just nobody's going to get because you're watching these bad movies.
That's what I'm here for.
You don't have to filter yourself.
We have 2 more on this list.
All right, yeah.
The first one, I'm sure you have heard about. I just want to bring up the cast. I'm switching between 2 lists.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of the movie directed by Robert Eggers, who you would know in the horror movies as doing The Lighthouse, The Vivitch, The Northman.
I love The Lighthouse.
I love The White House.
I love The Vivitch.
I love The Vivitch, too. It stars Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Bill Skarsgård, Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult.
Already loving it.
It is the Nosferatu.
Oh, yeah. It's a reboot.
Fucking
vampire reboot.
So excited.
Yeah.
So bloody excited.
I'm very excited, but also, like, you know, this is going to be one of those funny scenarios. We were just talking about reboots and stuff. This is going to be one of those ones where the Nosferatu classic there's such a different lens of assessment that film gets because it's a classic horror. It's the classic vampire film. It's like there's so much I want to say, like, there's a way in which that film is upheld that it is literally on a different standard than anything that could come after it, right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so different and weird and creepy, and like the makeup was like way ahead of its time. Like, the effects that they had were way ahead of their time, and even some of the practical stuff they did was it was done so well, like the way that shadows can grow and crawl across the wall, and like how they did that and really like pulled on the fear and the strings of like people who watched that movie back in the day. It's so different now, and we have so much more, and we have such a different lens. Like, I'm very interested to see, not one, how well they pull this off, but 2, how well we are able to like view something through a relatively comparative lens. Like, this movie has set itself up to do something that we've talked about on this podcast is very, very hard. They have to walk the line of paying homage to the classic, but then also making something that people who are seeing this for the first time can appreciate in a modern sense, right?
I think Robert Eggers is going to pull that off.
Okay, cool.
Personally.
I hope so.
The cast is phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to it.
I love the idea of it. I love the look of it. Very excited, which honestly brings us right into the last one on this list, because this goes up to 2025, January. Lee Whannell's, who you would know from the Invisible Man remake a couple of years ago, which personally
was good.
I enjoyed.
Yeah.
He
it's like
also
a meta commentary on like the like hyper masculinity, like, you know, the incel culture and like you know, trying to control narratives. Like it's really like, because it's a horror movie that has a metaphor about the real world and the real world implications, you know, like that darker truth that we keep referencing in this episode, but at the same time within its own realm, just analyzing it as a film, it's good.
Yeah. And Lee Whannell also did a movie that I really like called Upgrade. Have you seen that one?
I have not seen Upgrade, but I heard it was good.
Upgrade. It's not very horror. It's definitely more like sci-fi.
Yeah, it's more like what goes wrong in Cyberpunk 2077.
There's a little bit of horror to it, but it's mostly. But anyways, the Wolfman, who is. Let's see, who is the Wolfman? The Wolfman is a guy named Christopher Abbott. Julia Gardner is in this. I don't recognize much of it. Look, originally the Wolfman was going to be a Ryan Gosling film. He backed out to do something else. Lee Whannell kind of took over. It looks good.
You know what's funny? I think it's funny that we're getting a classic vampire and a classic werewolf tale.
You know what? Okay, but you know what pisses me off about this?
Hit me.
Okay, so...
Are they setting it up for Nosferatu versus the Wolfman? No, I'm just...
Okay, well, we've done the Dark Universe where they tried to set up all the monster horror movies.
I know.
Here's what pisses me off. This is so stupid.
Hit me.
I'm mad that we've gotten remakes of The Invisible Man. We've gotten remakes of fucking Wolfman, multiple. We get fucking vampire movies every goddamn fucking year. But you know what we don't get? We don't get A Creature from the Black Lagoon remake. One of the best Universal horror movies ever to exist. Revolutionized underwater filmmaking. Was the first movie to be filmed using scuba tanks in order to film underwater. Great, beautifully shot, beautiful story.
Dude,
incredible.
Get your boy James Cameron on it, man.
No, you know who I want?
Who?
Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, that would be cool.
Ape Sapien and Hellboy, and also The Shape of Water, The Fish Fucks the Lady movie.
Yeah, I mean, Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of is like the horror version of that. It's like
it's
the
one
fish,
of his favorite movies.
The fish doesn't fuck the lady.
Yeah, he just wants her because he's misunderstood.
Yeah.
No, like, okay, here's why I like Creature of the Black Lagoon.
Hit me.
I have massive thalassophobia and to some extent aquaphobia. I'm not a big fan of going in the water.
Yeah.
So the idea of like this weird fish man attacking people in the water, like I like horror movies that are set where I am afraid, and for me, that's the water, which is why I like shark movies and stuff.
Okay.
So,
all right, I like that.
That's my hot take.
That's good. There is a horror movie that you did not mention that is, I believe, out now called The Substance. It's more of a thriller, kind of a little bit of a side, but it definitely leans into horror. Like, so I was surprised that you were like, here's the last one, and I was like, oh, The Substance.
It already came out, so I didn't want to mention it. Yes,
well,
it's
let's
got
talk
Dennis
about
Quaid.
it. Yeah.
Okay, I have heard of this. I also, speaking of movies that are out that we didn't mention on this list, the remake Speak No Evil is out, and like,
is Maxine already out too?
Yeah, Maxine came and went.
Yeah, Maxine came and went. Wow, I didn't even see it. Jeez, okay, so honorable mention because it's out now. The Substance with Dennis Quaid. And then also Maxine, which already came and went, but I need to just make sure that I rent or buy it because I love the X trilogy. I think like they did such a good job taking Mia Goth and putting her in 3 different roles and giving you just like these different perspectives on time periods and stories that we tell and like the, you know, like just sort of like the horrific side of human nature. Like I really appreciate what Ty West did with those.
Yeah. I agree. 100%.
And then, okay, so The Substance, can you do me a quick plot synopsis for everybody listening? Because I did mention it, and like I do think it's worth it to like kind of chat and be like, this is a good one worth checking out if you're a horror fan.
Yeah. The synopsis is a fading celebrity decides to use a black market drug, which is a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself.
Classic. It's a classic be careful what you wish for, you know?
It's got an actress that I really like. Her name is Margaret Qualley, I think is how you say her name.
Yeah.
She was in Poor Things, which I really liked.
Okay.
She was, but most famously would be recognizable as Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. She's one of the people on the camp that interacts with Brad Pitt's character.
Okay.
I think she's really good. She was also in Death Note.
Yep.
Which we will not speak of.
Nope, we will not.
Yeah. Not the good Death Note, the bad live action one. Yeah. Look, I feel like if I'm being honest, this is a little bit of a weak spooky season for spooky movies.
Kind of
not
is,
a weak,
yeah.
But not a weak year for spooky movies.
No, it's not. And the other thing is there's a lot of horror movies that end up being higher budget, relatively independent films. That kind of they'll fly under the radar of mainstream horror. Like they might not even be mentioned on sites like Rotten Tomatoes right away, or you know, like they won't get the kind of coverage, they won't get the kind of mass reviews, they won't get the kind of publicity that other horror films get. A good friend of mine, Kristen Noriega, actually has I think she has the full length version of a short film she wrote called When You're Gone coming out. She's working on that right now. She's an amazing writer. She was the original writer on Devour, which was the script that I adapted. So she and I both got writing credits on it, and then got published as a short film. It actually like won a competition for plot and stuff, and then the Victoria Diana, our good friend and comedian, directed it, and it was like just phenomenal film. But Kristen she's such a good conceptual writer that I'm really excited to see if she ends up like pulling some stuff into mainstream horror sooner rather than later. I think she might end up being like a really good female voice in horror in the near future. But when you're gone, if anybody is looking for independent films or like just kind of scouring the internet, I highly recommend checking that out. And then another thing that I watched recently that brought this into my mind was I watched The Color Out of Space. Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
So The Color Out of Space, we don't get a lot of what I would refer to as Lovecraftian horror, right?
Like, I love Lovecraftian horror.
And The Color Out of Space is I don't know why I said what I would refer to as. It's a Lovecraft story. that was the most pretentious fucking thing I could have done. What I would refer to as Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, stop being so prissy.
What a fucking stupid... Hold on. Stop it. Rewind. All right. So this Lovecraftian tales, The Color Out of Space, the movie that was produced stars Nicolas Cage and some other people that you can't remember because Nicolas Cage is fucking dialed up to 11 in this film. But it's an amazing tale. A meteor essentially lands and then just crazy shit starts happening. It's got Tommy Chong in it, which is awesome. I highly recommend anybody who's interested in horror watches that film because it's so weird. It's so different. I would kind of put it in the same realm as The Rite. Remember no, not The Rite. Yeah. Not The Rite. The Ritual. Remember The Ritual? It's kind of like weird. They're out in like Norway or Scandinavia or something, like somewhere Scandinavian.
Yeah, kind of like Midsommar.
Yeah. It's got those weird vibes of like this is just something that's completely different from the human subject, like so. And Lovecraft did the whole point
today.
For Lovecraft, and I know like we'll talk about this later this spooky season, but like Lovecraft. His goal was to write things that would scare atheists. So he was just like, I can't write about God because God doesn't frighten these people. So I'm going to write about unfathomable beings.
And that's cool. That's awesome. And, I love that.
Well, and it comes from this place of he was like, well, if God doesn't exist, then these things do.
Well, that's okay. So it's funny you mentioned like the whole to scare atheists thing.
Yeah.
I have been obsessed with Lovecraftian horror. I did a Call of Cthulhu campaign for like D&D and like
spoiler alert, he was a bad person.
He was a very
his
bad
wife
person.
Left him because he was a bad person. Well, not a bad person. He just had bad opinions and there weren't enough people around to educate him at the time.
Yes.
Like and maybe change his mind. But yeah.
But his stories, the world that he built, to me is fascinating because as somebody who is an atheist, the idea that other dimensional beings and like this giant squid monster or like all these horrors could exist just outside of what we know is like so fascinating to me.
Like the deep ones and the eldritch gods and things like the King in Yellow. I mean I would, if anybody's looking for good horror to watch and you still haven't seen the first season of True Detective, I would put that in a horror mystery category because it's not completely like nail on the head, but it is Lovecraftian in a sense in that they are referencing the King in Yellow. There's a lot of ritual around that. Lovecraft really drew from that as an influence, and then this show followed up on that. So there is reference to the Lovecraftian side of that story, but at the same time, it's a very grounded human murder mystery. I would even classify part horror in certain moments.
Oh yeah. I love True Detective.
Yeah, that first season's amazing. So like, like as far as this season goes, I agree with you. It's a little bit weak. There's nothing too crazy coming out that I'm like Maxine was one that I was excited about. It's gone.
Alien Romulus
came and went. Sci-fi horror. It was amazing, but it already happened and it's not October yet. Beetlejuice is not a horror movie.
It's bad.
I've heard. I'm not even going to talk about it. I'm just going to leave it where it is and
that's
eventually
me talking
watch
about
it. Yeah,
that's my statement.
It's bad.
I didn't like it.
We don't have to talk about it too much, but I feel like Tim Burton has just kind of like he still has his touch as far as style goes. He has a stylistic touch, but as far as writing, directing goes, he's kind of lost his way a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. So really it was funny. You were like, we haven't gotten one of these movies in a long time, and I was like, Mummies. And you're like,
I was thinking of Mummies too.
But that's one thing. Yeah. Like when I was thinking about like the Wolfman tale and like the vampires that are coming out. Like we get those every year. We get like some sort of a werewolf thing pretty much annually. We get some sort of vampire thing pretty much annually. We usually get zombies have been completely fatigued to the Jesus
God.
and back.
I used to love
by
that.
the now, what are we at, like year 18 of The Walking Dead on AMC. Like
with all the spin-offs.
Yeah, AMC didn't. I can't believe they haven't started just a separate network for those yet. The Zombie Apocalypse Network. You are now watching the ZAN, Zombie Apocalypse Network.
Zan.
Zan. Welcome back to Zan. Here's Walking Dead season 23. Like, God. Yeah. Why did the dead never learn to run? That's like a show.
That's the prequel.
Welcome back to the Walking Dead marathon. Anyway, yeah, no, like we get those every year. There are some mythical horror things that we don't get touched on much. There was one that came out this year about a spider. Remember?
Sting.
Yep, Sting came out. That was like about a spider that grows real fast, but is only like the size of a dog.
It's Evil Dead, but an apartment.
But Evil Dead's better.
I'm saying it feels like it's trying to be Evil Dead.
Yeah. Have we gotten a demonology movie yet this year? No.
Yeah, the new Exorcist Believer came out, which was bad.
Yeah, I forgot. And that came out before fucking spooky season.
That came out in like March.
Why
dude.
are these things happening that way? Like, I get the winter. Okay, so it like
Last Omen came out.
February and March seems like an okay time to release horror films because it's still like a weird portion of the winter. Like we're kind of coming back from having the land be a little dark in the northern hemisphere, but like really. I'm surprised more people don't stack spooky season thematically, you know?
Immaculate came out earlier this year already.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, and then there was the this is more of like a Rosemary's Baby, but last year wasn't it the American Horror Story was like about like birth and like the devil and possession and stuff, like yeah.
I know that show's been going on for just as long as The Walking Dead.
Too long.
But
But yeah, so I mean, as far as this season's a little bit weak for spooky season, but like, I feel like the people who are into spooky season, right? So myself, yourself, Adriana, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like for people like us who are like I would say I'm more into this than I am into the holiday season. I make the most of the holiday season, but you get 25 days of me going along with what you want for the holiday season, and I'm talking to my friends who are into the holiday season. They know what I'm talking about, but like. With spooky season, I actually get excited. Like, first, I don't even watch something spooky. I watch Over the Garden Wall because that welcomes fall for me. That's like a rite of passage. It's so short and sweet and, like, beautiful and wonderful, and the music's great, and it's, like, a nice little tale, and it has to do with the fall and Halloween and stuff. But, like, I can rip that off in, like, one sitting because, what is it? Like, cumulatively, it's, like, 3 hours, not even, of TV, you know? So it's like a movie. So I watch that. And then it's spooky season. And so right now, I'm going to be delving back into, I'll probably rewatch the new Hellraiser, you know?
It's spooky season for Magnum Opus next month.
Which of these movies that we've talked about are you most excited for? Wait, let's say it on 3. Let's say it at the same time.
The ones that are coming out?
Yeah, this season. Let's say which one we're most excited for on 3. Ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Nosferatu. Yep. Okay. Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Like, knew it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. All right, cool. So everybody go see Nosferatu.
In January.
Oh, wait, that's January. That's not even in spooky season.
Nope.
Oh, my God. All right, everybody go watch The Color Out of Space and Freaky.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's just watch those. What's your jam this week? What are you jamming? What do you got for me?
So... last week I mentioned the show Owl House. I am on the final episode because the final season is broken up into like 3 50-minute parts.
Yep.
So I'm on the final part. Very good show. Really like it. Definitely not for everybody. It is a Disney show at the end of the day. It's kind of similar to Gravity Pines. Nope, Gravity Falls. That is like the third time I've done that where I've combined
Gravity
the
Pines.
Pines and Gravity.
Yeah.
So Owl House. I'm just mentioning it again because it is a really good show. I really enjoy it. But also,
you know what? Honorary mention for Gravity Falls for spooky season.
Oh, absolutely. Love Gravity Falls.
Yeah. Keep going.
My other jam is, I mentioned it before, but Noah Khan. I go through periods, especially fall.
It's the fall.
His music is always. I mean, he's my favorite musical artist.
Yeah, it's time for acoustic and folk music that makes you think about your feelings.
Yeah, and like, I don't have anything else to say. Like Noah Kahan, any of his albums, any of his songs, just listen to him. You'll love it.
No, he suits the fall for sure.
Yeah, that's my two jams. Another Owl House mention, another Noah Kahan mention, because those are two. I've been listening to a lot of Noah Kahan. Been watching nothing but Owl House this week, so
that's awesome.
That's my two.
What is my jam?
Not prepared.
No, I actually. Well, so as far as shows go,
have tables.
I know what my jam was because I had a music one loaded up, and then I was thinking of like 5 other bands because. Well, here's a cute little thing before my jam session. One of my favorite things about the cast for School of Rock, going back to that, is so we do mic check every night, and not everybody knows this about. If you're in theater and you've done this, you know what it is. You do mic check karaoke, where everyone shows up with like a song that they want to sing, rather than just checking one of your songs from the show, because you're just checking the mic. You don't have to sing a song from the show, you know. And so the first night that we did mic check, I went around to all the kids and I was like, "Hey, what are you singing for mic check?" And they were like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, are you going to sing like a song that you like?" And like there's one little girl who keeps singing songs that she writes, so like original pieces, and they're good. So which is like blowing everybody away. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, like this little talented child." But one of my favorite moments now is that the other night everyone's doing their bit, and then no one had done this song yet, and I just like stood up in the mic and I was like, "You are my fire," and everybody jumped in. No, it was great. Everybody sang like the first verse and chorus of "I Want It That Way" by the Backstreet Boys, which was great. But yeah, so my jam this week though, I'm going to plug that a lot of people don't know this, but Magic the Gathering actually has online fiction. So they have stories that are written for the actual sets that are coming out. And this is very on theme because the set that's coming out right now is called Duskmorn. And it's all about, imagine if a demon in a basement of a house couldn't get out based on a bargain that it had made, like a deal, right? A contract that it had. So instead, it enticed another being to help it expand its domain, which is the house, essentially taking over an entire plane of existence and making it a labyrinthian haunted house.
Okay.
Pretty cool concept, right?
Very.
So that's like the concept of Duskmorn, which is the next set of Magic the Gathering. And the whole theme of the set is like 80s, 90s horror films. So like classic horror. So
that's cool.
There's a card in Magic the Gathering called Meat Hook Massacre, and then to play into like the trope and theme of horror movies.
Is that from I Know What You Did Last Summer?
No, but to play into that trope and theme, there's a card that came out in the set called Meat Hook Massacre 2, which is amazing. Like
that's awesome.
Yeah, and like the whole so like I highly recommend Shannon McGuire, who's a really great author, by the way, really amazing writer. When she wants to write something in the horror realm, she goes under the name Marina Grant, and that's who's writing the story for Magic the Gathering right now. So it's this awesome like interplanar kind of sci-fi fantasy horror story where the central bad guy, you know the name, is a demon named Valgavoth, who essentially kind of worked with like this outcast girl on this plane and used her to draw people in, to feed upon them, to expand his domain. So now everything on this plane of existence is a giant horror house. Like, it's amazing. Yeah, I highly recommend reading the story. Really, really good, and I'm really excited for the set. It actually comes out next week. Really, really pumped. It's just my aesthetic. Like I love that realm, and we were talking about spooky season this whole time. The other thing I want to plug is Marcin, Marcin. He is a like an acoustic guitar player, classical. He does like classical finger picking, flamenco, and like progressive acoustic, I would call it. He has his first album out called Dragon in Harmony. He's an amazing guitar player. He's brought on really great artists. He's brought on like Tim Henson and Portugal the Man, and like just cool people to help him build out these songs that he's written on an acoustic guitar. So I'm of course over the moon about it. It's bringing me a lot of joy when I'm just kind of
over the garden wall about it?
I am. But yeah, so those are my 2 jams this week. But I highly recommend, if you're someone who's into spooky season, if you like horror literature, even not knowing the characters and who they are, and like the intro might be a little weird for someone who's not been in Magic the Gathering before. But if you can kind of just suspend a little bit of disbelief for the intro and then read the stories as they go along, it's a really good classic horror story. Yeah. So big recommendation there. Yeah. And now what are you off to do? You had a hard out, right? You got to get out now. You got to leave. What are you doing? Robbing a bank?
I got it. Yeah, I am.
You're Jordan Peele. You got to get out.
Yeah, I need to feed my Snickers addiction. I keep buying Snickers at the gas station. I just can't afford them anymore.
You have to run straight at the screen like like the scene in Get Out.
That movie.
And then turn right at the last moment.
I have a hard out because I have been nothing but Transformers, and you wouldn't let me talk about them. So we're talking about them next week. Spoiler alert.
Oh, fine. We'll talk about Transformers next week.
Because we're both going to go see Transformers 1. We're going to talk about all the Transformers movies that already came and a deep dive on Transformers.
When does Transformers 1 come out?
Thursday.
I won't have time. You're so disappointed. You're so
I am. Did you see that? That was
I'm in a musical right now. I don't know what you want from me. It's not like where am I going to summon the magical time from to go see Transformers?
Just go see like a 10:30 showing.
I can't go. No, I'm not. I'm good. I'm exhausted. You heard me at the I laid down at the beginning of this podcast.
Okay, go see like a 10 a.m. showing.
No.
Yeah.
I like on a Friday. Okay, maybe. If I can turn a professional meeting that I'm holding next Friday morning into also let's go see a movie, I will do it. You have my word on that.
Okay,
if I can convince a potential client to go see a Transformers movie, which is probably going to, let's be real, I'll probably lose business doing that. Then yes, you have my word. I will suffer that loss for your gain, Odie.
Because if you don't go see Transformers 1, I won't show up to the podcast next week.
No, you're gonna show up.
Nope. You can't make me. I live in another state. What are you gonna do? You're gonna call me?
Yes.
Ignore.
Whatever. I'm done.
Okay.